This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Wahid Invest, revolutionizing halal investments.
Welcome to Freshly Grounded, episode 88, I think. It's 88. Is it? Have you checked?
You said to me it's 88.
Yeah, I know, but I say these things, but then I always check on camera. I should really get in the habit of checking before I start this intro. It takes me 2 seconds. It's like when my granddad used to phone us. It's 89. When my granddad used to phone us, he used to phone us and then we'd answer and then he'd like clear his throat. And I remember my uncle used to say why would he not just clear his throat first? Because then the first thing he is on the phone. Welcome to episode 89 of Freshly Grounded. Guys, this episode is brought to you by Wahid Invest. Guys, Wahid Invest is an online platform where you guys can upload your money, your real money, your savings, with as little. You can start with as little as £100, and you can invest your money. Wahid basically invests your money into halal businesses, into commodities, so that instead of putting your money into a savings account and making interest, it can inshallah make money, but not with interest, basically. So they invest your money into companies that don't deal with riba, with alcohol, with tobacco, with adult films, and with a bunch of other stuff. You can actually check out their FAQs and they discuss all of that on their website. They're very, very transparent. They actually have a Sharia compliance board that checks that the companies that they invest your money into are halal. And also that the decisions that they make are ethical decisions, and the contracts they sign, etc. And so it's worth checking out, guys. Even if you're kind of saving up for something, it's worth doing it because you're saving up for, let's say, a car or Hajj or whatever, and the money is a bit less accessible when it's in your Wahid account, but you can withdraw it whenever you want. So guys, Wahid have helped people all over America invest their money into halal portfolios, and now they are in the UK. You can sign up from as little as £100, get your account approved instantly, and you can begin investing. Wahid Invest, revolutionizing halal investing. Make sure you check it out at freshlygrounded.com/Wahid. That's freshlygrounded.com/WAHED. Also, guys, I have just launched my podcast workshop. That's right, I'm doing a workshop, guys. I'm teaching you how in London on the 24th of February, how to make a podcast from scratch, literally from the equipment that you guys need to the software, to how to edit them, to how to upload it, how to put it on iTunes, how to put it on Spotify, how to do everything so that you don't even need a big team. Guys, a lot of my episodes, like this one that I've done today, literally it was just me and Tim, my guest here. There was no producer, there's nothing. I'm about to get off the camera. I'm about to edit it now and upload it now because it's Friday and every episode goes out on Friday. That's how quick you can get doing this. I used to spend a whole day or 2 days doing Freshly Grounded. Now, if I have to, I can even do it without a producer. So I'm going to teach you guys how to do that, and also how to monetize your podcast, how to get sponsorships. Guys, the way to check out this course is by going to podcastworkshop.co.uk. That's podcastworkshop.co.uk or freshlygrounded.com/workshop, I think. I don't know. Just go to podcastworkshop.co.uk, and almost half of, I think, at the time of this recording, either half or over half of the seats are now gone. It's a small, intimate workshop with just a few people in a small conference room. And if, the demand is a lot, then I might even do another date. But check that out, book your tickets, and when you register interest, I might even send you a little discount code. So check that out, podcastworkshop.co.uk. Also, guys, remember to sign up to our Patreon account if you guys want to support the podcast. If you guys want to get podcast episodes one day early, apart from the very few ones like today's where we had to record it on a Friday, you get your podcast one day early, and you also get the episodes ad-free. So if you want to get episodes ad-free, check out patreon.com. That's patreon.com/freshly grounded. For around £5 a month, you can become a premium subscriber, but you also get to support the podcast. So it helps us run, it helps us get just do things, basically, arrange guests and our set and publish episodes and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Also, this time next week, I'm going to have a huge announcement for you guys that I can't wait to drop. But before that, I also just want to tell you guys about Qibla Tours. Qibla Tours, guys, Hajj is around the corner. Before we know it, it's going to be Hajj. It's going to be Ramadan in like 2-3 months. Straight after that, it's going to be Hajj. So we need to start thinking about it. Let's make the intention for Hajj, inshallah. And guys, listen, Qibla Tours have got a package, probably literally the cheapest one I've seen so far for Hajj. It's about £4,500, and you can check it out by going to 2019hajj.com. That's 2019hajj.com. patron.com, and you can register your interest on their website, and then they'll contact you. And guys, you get a 5-star hotel in Medina. You get a hotel, a brand new building that's very close in to the Haram in Makkah. You get food, breakfast and lunch is covered, flights are covered, travel is covered, you got buses, you got everything, and you're going with the guy who founded Badr Academy, which is a school that a lot of us go to. So you guys know you're in trusty hands. They've gone to Hajj for over 25 years. They really do know what they're doing, guys. So register your interest there. You can literally give a deposit of £100 and then pay the rest in installments. So yeah, guys, check them out. Qibla Tours. Now, this episode of the podcast is with Tim Randle. Not Tim Humble. We did have Tim Humble recently, but another beautiful brother, Tim Randle. Tim, he works as a production assistant at Iman Channel. He has been Muslim for about, what did you say, 6 years? 6 years now, and he got married last year. So we go into his marriage, we go into his revert story, we talk about his family, how supportive his parents are or were of him becoming a Muslim, and how he got married, if he had any, he got married into a Gujarati family, and how he found that experience. Really, really cool episode, guys. Really looking forward to you guys listening to it. And so without any further ado, this is Freshly Grounded, episode 89 with Tim Randle. Let's get into it.
And welcome to Freshly Grounded, the brand new podcast by best friends Faisal and Sam.
Huh?
I said welcome to Freshly Grounded,
No, after that bit.
the brand new podcast
And after that bit?
by best friends Faisal and Sam.
Really?
This is the only time of the week that I get to put my phone on airplane mode for like a whole 2 hours. It makes me so
That's
excited.
a good point, man.
And then I turn it back on, and it's a madness.
You got loads of messages.
Yeah. So alhamdulillah. Are you doing the same?
Yeah.
Have you ever put your phone on airplane mode before?
Only time I put on an aeroplane mode is when I get in the aeroplane. That's the
Yeah,
only
same,
time. That's
same.
the only time I've done it.
You know what, bro?
It's not airplane, mate. You know what I mean?
So, bro, let's talk.
Let's talk. Bismillah.
The initial thing that I wanted to kind of bring into conversation is that,
Yeah.
so when you hear a lot of revert stories, you hear about stories where you hear a lot of stories where people take their Shahada and then their family is not very supportive, or their family is quite shocked about it.
Yeah.
And the thing I love about your story, and there's probably so many stories like yours out there, which is why it's so interesting,
Yeah.
is that your family were really supportive.
Yes.
And it also wasn't too much of a shock for them. So should we start right at the beginning as to kind of like perhaps where your interest in Islam grew?
Okay. Bismillah. So I think my real interest in Islam grew, I'd say, through my friends. My actual love for Islam grew through my friends, and subhanAllah, when I first became Muslim, I had that support from the same people, and the people that were around me were the people that, alhamdulillah, obviously Allah is first who guided me, but these people, they introduced the basics of what a person should know outside of Islam, in terms of making you kind of rethink about life and think about what's going to happen to you when you die. And that's what these people brought to me. So that's what made me develop my love for Islam and develop my kind of want to learn for it.
Where were these people at school? School friends?
College.
Okay.
College and from where I live, my area that I lived in.
So you're like 17, 18 at this time?
I was, so I've been Muslim nearly 6 years. So yeah, around that time. I'm 23 now, so about 16, 17. So I was young when I became Muslim, subhanAllah. I was really young. But
What age did you take Shahada?
about 16, 17.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in college. I was in my second to last year in college.
But as in, like, did you have Muslims around you for a long time, or you literally in college?
All my life, I grew up with
Okay.
two of my close friends in my area in Northern England, Doncaster. I used to live there. I've probably lost my accent now. Yeah.
Now you have
So,
an accent,
yeah.
don't worry.
It's still there, yeah? It's still there.
You're like, I've lost my accent now.
I've lost my...
I mean, that was a bit strong, but it's not as strong as what I just
I
tried.
did a voiceover for someone's advert, yeah. And I thought I sounded quite like a London. I was like, yeah, I sound quite good.
You shall never be a Londoner.
But then everyone was like, you still sound like your normal self. But yeah. So what was the question you asked again? Sorry?
Yeah, so you had two friends who were close to you growing up.
It was in my area.
Okay.
I had two really, really close friends that I've grown up with throughout my life. I was in school with them, spent time with them all the time. They'd come to my house. My mum even called one of them, her third son. Yeah, because my mum's obviously got two sons, me and my brother. But she called him her third son.
How upset would you have been if she was like, "That's my second son," and you're her third son?
Like, what about my other brother? Yeah. No, but it was nice. Like, he was one of them. He was always at my house. My mum used to love cooking food for him. Like, we always used to chill out. But we did get up to mischief, and my mum knows this, yeah, so I can say it on camera or audio. And we used to get up to mischief, but we used to spend a lot of time together. SubhanAllah. But although we got up to mischief and we still spent time together and we got up to things that we shouldn't have got up to, he still somehow reverted it back to Allah, and it's as if Allah really wanted to guide me, SubhanAllah. And when I look back at the signs of like how my way to Islam, it was obvious. It was obvious, SubhanAllah.
So you have these friends. So you always so you always have an open or like a good perception of Islam, not necessarily like a.
Yeah. So I'll tell you something beautiful. Yeah, SubhanAllah. My family, they've the area we were in per se wasn't an Islamic area. It was more like it was mixed cultural, but there was not really no Islam there. The actual Islam was more in the town centre of Doncaster. Yeah. So my parents, they've kind of grown up in it all the way throughout their life in areas where you wouldn't really see Islam and you wouldn't really like get used to it. But SubhanAllah, my mum actually got the chance to get involved in that, in the work that she did. So my mum works as a foster carer. No, not foster carer. She works as a social worker, looking after foster parents and all that kind of stuff, and being with them in court and these kind of things. And one of the cases, my mum, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, but I'll go into it like lightly. She actually worked with an Aqabi sister, and in that, she's actually writing a book about it. SubhanAllah. She's asking me about Islam and Salah and what to add to it, but that's another topic. But she actually met this Aqabi sister. And she was fighting for her in court. She took her away from her husband and moved her to a separate area where this man could never find her because he was beating her and these kind of things, SubhanAllah, her husband, yeah. And my mom really got to see the beauty of Islam through this woman, because this woman, she taught her a lot. She taught her about Salah, everything, yeah.
So my mom,
this is before I was Muslim, yeah. And my mom's she's always been the person, may Allah bless her and guide to Islam as well. She's always been the person to be open-minded and to love people without any holds barred. So this really opened up these kind of, because she works in that field, although she doesn't live in an Islamic area, she kind of already found like a beauty of Islam through other people, SubhanAllah. So that's the beauty behind my mum. She's always been, because she's from South Africa. She moved here with my dad, because my dad moved over there, met my mum there, they came over here. So my mum's, I don't know, maybe in South Africa, maybe there's a different mentality there. I don't know what it is, but my mum, she's got a beautiful mindset, mashallah. And it's been very easy to relate to my mum a lot, because she understands it.
Yeah, because I had the pleasure of speaking to your mum very briefly when she called in on the Iman Channel show.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I was so pleasantly surprised, because she just seemed like, not that I expected your mum to be like evil at all. I'm probably surprised in the best word, but it was just so nice to hear your mum. She sounded like such a lovely lady, and she was like talking about your revert story, and she was saying about how she was mentioning how you guys have always been a family that you're open to discuss all types of like ways of life and types of like different mindsets, and so she was always open, and you guys have always been open to speak about that kind of stuff, which I thought was really, really cool.
It's always been like that, subhanAllah. Always, my mum's always been open to speaking to me, chatting to me, and she's never afraid of telling people I'm Muslim. Never. Like her, I think one of her best friends is a Muslim, so she spends a lot of time with her. She talks about obviously their lives and stuff like that. But yeah, she's never shy of telling people that I'm Muslim and these kind of things. So it's actually a beautiful thing. Alhamdulillah.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So what was the kind of switching moment when you actually took your Shahada?
My switching moment was when I went to Umrah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I saw all the Muslims together, and I heard the adhan, and I saw the Muslims. Like, it was amazing, SubhanAllah. And I wasn't even a Muslim. I prayed Salah and stuff. It was crazy. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but it was, at that time, it was amazing, because it's you're experiencing Jum'ah, because in the previous part, obviously, I'd say I was a Christian, but I wasn't really a Christian. I didn't really practice. My mum didn't practice it. But I went to church when I was younger, when I was a kid. So I understood what was involved in churches and stuff. And when I experienced the Jum'ah, it was, subhanAllah, something completely different. And I loved it. SubhanAllah. That was the turning point, because after that, I went to a few classes about Aqidah and stuff to learn about who is Allah, to really define it. And that's how it's created. Like, actually, it's honestly, everything fell in place. Yeah, I went to Jummah, I experienced Jummah. After that, I met someone, my friend's teacher. I went to him. He told me about who is Allah, does Allah have a throne, these kind of things. Because in Christianity, I didn't experience that. I just got told this is this, that's that, and we have to believe it. Whereas Islam, we have so many deep kind of sciences, and it really opened my eyes up. SubhanAllah.
And so that's when your journey basically. And you took.
That's near the finishing point, I'd say.
Do you remember when you took your Shahada?
I think it was May 2013 or 13.
Where were you?
Doncaster.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Donny lad.
you just take it by yourself, or?
No, I was actually, so it was really strange, yeah, because I never experienced like an Asian culture, like, because in Doncaster there's a lot of Asian people.
Oh, is there?
There's a mix. There's African Muslims there. There's a lot, yeah, but predominantly it's Asian culture, yeah. And my best friend was Asian, who kind of brought me to Islam. And when I went to my teacher's house, this is where I took my Shahada. It was my old teacher's house in Doncaster, and he took me there. And there was about 20 people. They all knew I was coming. Yeah, They all prepared it. They had all the sheet out on the floor, the food, and all this kind of stuff. And I sat there, but he said, before the food, bro, I know you're eyeing it up. Yeah, he said to me, so I actually said to him on text, like, listen, I love Islam. I think I want to take my Shahada. So I came around, and I said I want to take it. And then from there I took my Shahada, and that's it. From there I went 8, and then I ate again after.
That must be such a daunting experience, like going somewhere where everyone is watching you, being this is the guy, he's about to take a Shahada.
Yeah.
And
the crazy thing is,
go on.
I got videoed as well. And I didn't
really?
even know it. And they put it out on Facebook. Everyone in Doncaster knew about me becoming Muslim.
Have you got your
It was a
Shahada
shock.
video?
No, it's gone. It's gone. I think
You
it might
never
still be
saved
there.
it?
If I go dig deep, I think I might be able to find it.
You never saved it?
Never saved it.
Oh, it's fine.
I looked mesquite, man.
But it must be daunting because, like, knowing that, like, everyone is here and the pressure you must feel of, now. It's such a private thing that was between me and Allah, and it was in my heart. I wanted to my Shahada, but that is maybe your first experience of it being such a public thing where people are watching you and people are excited for you as their brother.
Exactly.
But that must be pressure.
Yeah, it was a big thing because in Doncaster I was like the last person, that you'd expect to become Muslim.
Really?
I was like the last, but I wasn't per se someone from Doncaster, but everyone like from school and college, and a lot of people knew me.
You're a big deal.
That's why Doncaster is quite a small town, but it's big in the same. It's in the same way.
I hear what you mean. Yeah.
So everyone knew everyone's business and all that kind of stuff. Whereas in London, it's a lot different. But everyone knew that I became Muslim, and then everyone came up to me, "Are you Muslim?" I was like, "Yeah." It was crazy. Like for the next year, like people were confused. Like and everything with me was changing. I was changing my way. I was doing things I shouldn't be doing, and everyone was like, "Why are you doing that?" And I explained to them, and it was crazy. Like it was a huge change. And to say, like you said, like the video got put out as soon as I became Muslim, and I only knew about it maybe like a few days after. So you're on Facebook. Everyone knows you're Muslim. I was like, right, it's crazy. Like everyone started commenting on it, and it was nuts. It was nuts.
Yeah, I find that odd about small towns because I never knew about this idea that everything in small towns is so big and so highlighted. Because I've never been raised in a small town. I've always been raised in London, and so it's very normal for me that everyone keeps themselves to themselves and that no one really knows each other's business. Especially like where I'm from, West in London. So West London is probably the most like. Or the least, there's not like a huge amount of Asians predominantly, whereas in East, for example, there's a lot more.
I live in Walthamstow. There's a lot, but in Walthamstow it's very diverse. To say it's so small. Like.
I have some family in Walthamstow, I think, and so when I started visiting some small towns, you do realise that everyone knows of everyone, or someone. Like I think my first experience with it was when I moved away to Cardiff, and Cardiff's not a small town; it's still a city, but it's a lot smaller than London, right? Yeah. And it was one of those things where you couldn't ever go a day without bumping into so many people that you know. Whereas in London, if I really wanted to, bro, I could actually go London a whole week and not bump into one person I know, right? And I could be getting the tubes here and there, and if I bump into someone like on the tube in London, it's like what? Like how are you here? Whereas in Cardiff, you would go into a restaurant and probably half of the people in the restaurant you know who they are, or you've seen them before, and that was every day. Or you walk in the streets, you say, "Oh, assalamu alaikum," or "Hello," wherever you go. And so then
it's the same. It's exactly the same with Doncaster.
So that's
but even more. because it's such a small area. There's only a certain amount of schools, yeah, and everyone knew each other from schools. And you know, back in the day when you're in school, there used to be fights and all these kind of things used to go on, yeah. And everyone from my school would tell the other school, and etc. until everyone knew.
Yeah.
And then in college, I was in college, and everyone knew. But subhanAllah, like all the way throughout college, I think I only had, like, because I was involved, I was in media, and there wasn't really many Muslims inside the media course. I wasn't really in touch with Muslims as much. But then when I go to the prayer room, I'd see like a Somali brother, mashallah, he's fasting every Monday, Thursdays. I was like, what's this? There was always that kind of openness to learning about Islam. Although I was in such a small town, there was a lot to learn, subhanAllah. But my most of my life before I became Muslim wasn't spent in Doncaster.
Oh, where was it?
I lived in Doncaster, but I spent a lot of my time outside of it, like in Sheffield.
Okay.
In because it's really close, yeah.
Yeah.
And I spent most of my time in Derby as well.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Up north.
Up north, yeah.
Up
north.
Even there was a guy who was on an Iman Channel show recently.
Yeah.
You remember when we did Iman Channel, the live Talk to Me? Were you there that day? For the live Talk to Me, where
The
it was
live one, I
about
was there.
domestic violence.
Yes, I was there.
So there was. Do you remember one of the guys in the audience? He was like a specialist for charity.
Yes, I remember him.
And he mentioned that he went back that night on the train, and like on the train when he got closer to his town, there was people that he knew, which I'm like already like,
it's crazy.
What? How are there people you know on the train? And then he said that the people were like, oh yo, you were on Iman Channel. With the guy from Freshly Grounded, and that's huge. Like, and everyone in, I think the area that he's from, I can't remember where it's, because like, everyone in
Bradford. Was it Bradford?
Maybe, but I think so. And he's like, oh, like he was like, oh, it's just going around the whole of Bradford that I was on TV. Everyone in Bradford's watching it. Like everyone's like, oh, you on? And it's mad because I could say to someone like my family, for example, that I'm on Iman Channel or TV tonight or something, and it doesn't get spread out because we're such a big city.
Yeah.
Like,
it's hard. It's actually really hard to push stuff in London.
Yeah.
Really
The only person I tell is my nan. She loves it. Bless her. She's like, I'm like, oh, nan, I'm on Iman Channel tonight. She's like, or like one time she was flicking.
Subhanallah, I don't even know how my mum knows it. Yeah, but she finds out I'm on Iman Channel whenever I'm on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Although I'm never on it. Like when I'm on it, she'll somehow find. I think probably my family-in-law will tell them. Well, I don't know.
So for Iman Channel, YouTube producing, and your cameraman.
Cameraman, yeah.
What's your official title?
So sorry, say that again.
What's your official title for Iman Channel?
I don't really have one.
Really? Tim.
I'd say I'm a production assistant.
Okay.
But at the minute I'm working mostly on children's shows. So I'm doing producing for that. I'm finding kids. I'm finding different elements to film and that kind of stuff. EKTV, yeah.
Nice.
So you know what, Iman Channel is one of them places where you can learn so much about not only yourself but the role that you want to get into. SubhanAllah, and that's what I've managed to find, is that I'm just finding myself learning about different kind of stuff.
The few times that you've done presenting there, how did you find that?
Presenting's scary, man.
Really?
I don't know how you do it. 10, 9, 8, 7. My legs would be shaking. I don't know.
Bro, the first
this
time
is
I
alright
did
because it's it's mellow, it's chilled out. But when it's presenting and the screen's on you, and if you mess up your words, that's it. Khalas, bruv.
But the first time I did presenting at Iman Channel, like actual presenting, not just like a filler.
What was it?
Spot.
What was it?
It was for Muntada.
Oh, okay,
last year, right? So before then, I had done.
Was it Ramadan? Was it Ramadan?
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
You were there. That's
yeah. I remember you did your Ramadan with Iman as well. You were so
Ramadan with Iman. So that was my
I went to see. I went, bro, you're gonna present. You're like, what?
Bro, so Ramadan with Iman, that kind of period, like Ramadan last year was the first time where I switched from being like a co-host where the main host does a lot of the like scary stuff, like,
and then he'll pass it
taking
to you
and stuff. And I would get past it, so I wouldn't have to do any of the scary stuff because they would take control of that. And when I say scary stuff, I mean like you got someone in your ear counting down seconds, and if you don't end the show or take it to the break or bring it back from the break in that time, you're finished. Like you ruined the show basically. Like it cuts off and stuff. And so I was never that guy. But in Ramadan, I did that transfer, right? And I basically the Ramadan is a big time. Like the view spike.
About how many people are watching it.
Right.
As well,
So that's when I had to go to the deep end, right? And so there was these times where in Ramadan I was learning on the job, and so I remember the first time I was told to anchor, which is obviously when you're like being the main host, and I'm like, oh guys, I don't know if I can do this, man. I don't know if I can anchor. You must have been. You were there a lot in Ramadan, and so I had the thing in my APCB, and I remember just being so scared. And then I'm hearing it on my ear. They're like 10, 9. We're going live in 8, 7,
Lift up.
6, and I'm like 5. I'm like 4, and then it's
I'm
like
just thinking, not imagine like I've not seen it yet. All the time I've been in Iman channel is that it comes to it and they've lost their voice, or they've like you know when you need to cough. Like,
At first it's scary.
Yeah.
So I was like, they're like, "One," and you're live, and I'm like, "Assalamu." And the first time I did it, I must have messed up. So I must have been like, "Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome to talk Iman chat." I mean, like, and you just mess up, man. So, but you learn very quickly. And the thing I found the hardest though is balancing listening to someone and talking at the same time.
Yeah, it's hard.
But once you build a relationship with the producers, it's easy to.
easier.
They learn what you prefer and what you don't prefer. Like for me, I find it easier when if producers are talking to me, I find it easier when they're talking to me when I'm not talking, because I can't do that. I can't talk and listen at the same time. That's one thing I can't do. And the second thing is if they just say stuff in short bursts. I really like.
Because you'll be like, what?
I'm going to mention his name because he knows this, but you know Abu Bakr's little like AB Abu Bakr Noor.
Abu Bakr Noor,
Bro, sometimes Abu Bakr Noor, I love him, but sometimes he's saying something. Like, bro, because I told everyone. I told Robert and I told Robert and Mohammed, like, when you tell something in my ear, it has to be like quick, man. But like, for example, if they have a suggestion, Mohammed might go something like, "I would talk about charity trips or something," and that's all I need to hear. But when Abu Bakr Noor does it sometimes, he's like, "Bro, why don't you mention like the pros and cons of this, and perhaps like why you can go on it?" And he's like, "Abu Bakr, please
whole
stop."
script page full of
and may Allah bless him, man. And man, so it's tough. I think you learn that. Also with Robert, I had to remember the joke thing that happened.
Yeah, we're live. Was it? We're live on Facebook now or something. Was it?
Alhamdulillah. Wait, how do you find like being in people's ears and stuff?
To be honest, I didn't get to do the only time I really get to do that is in Ramadan, when they need my assistance to do it. When I do it, I kind of, like you said, I just try and do it as quick as possible. But sometimes, because you're doing that, you're speaking to someone, you're forgetting about that. You're live and you're mixing as well. Because what we're doing in Iman channel is that the mixer is speaking directly as well. So he'll be speaking into your ear, and then we got a mix as well, the videos and stuff. So yeah, like I say in Ramadan, it's really challenging, like doing that kind of stuff after you've had a long day fasting, and then you've got the evening, you got all the shows, and you're going to like 4 a.m. and then you come in waking up in the morning. I remember this was really bad. I know this is this is gonna be funny. I was, because of Ramadan, as you know, the nights are long. In terms of filming with Iman channel, like we were going all night, and then the day after I come back to work, and I remember I was on the train, and I was so tired, like I think I had hardly any sleep. I came home, and I remember I needed to do a lot of stuff in the day, so then I came back on the train, and I was on the district line. You know, the district line is quite calm. There's nice air conditioning. It's all right. It's a big train. In Ramadan it was good because it was air conditioned and stuff. But I was standing up, and I was leaning on the windows. You know where the doors that open, And I was leaning on the windows like this, and I fell asleep whilst I was standing up, So I must have dropped really weirdly, like on the floor, and the doors opened as well. So
you were leaning on the door?
Yeah. This is in Ramadan as well. Yeah. I was leaning on the door, and I fell asleep, standing up. I don't know how I did it. I was so tired. And I just felt like nearly fell on the floor, and the doors opened as well. So everyone was like, because district line is busy at Earl's Court.
Did everyone rush towards you?
Everyone was like, no, they obviously stepped back and like, oh, you're right. I must have looked drunk or something, but I was gone, man, finished. But that's the beauty of like Ramadan. It's so action packed. It's just, everything happens in Ramadan, man. It's fun. Like,
and Ramadan is always memorable because it's just a switch up, isn't it?
You know what? There's whenever you speak about Ramadan, you feel like you can feel it. Like you don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I just said some bid'ah stuff here, but you feel really like kind of, I don't know. Like there's a feeling in Ramadan. And you can't explain it.
Well, I remember mentioning this to somebody else and saying that there's this feeling in Ramadan that you just feel like you don't really get anywhere else. Except, that's what I'm saying. Except, in my opinion, Fajr in the masjid.
Yeah.
And I think if you do Fajr in the masjid, you get the same feeling that you get in Ramadan. And that's the only other time I've experienced that
because
feeling.
Because of the dawn, when dawn's coming up and you're walking out the masjid, it's nice. It's really nice feeling.
That's the only other time I think. So if people miss that Ramadan feeling, I would honestly advise them, wake up and go to Fajr in the masjid, even if it's far for you, especially if you live in somewhere like London. Where in my area there's no masajid at all. Serious. But even for me, if I have a car, It's about a 10-minute drive, even at Fajr time.
Oh, that's all right.
That's okay because really
driving's all right.
If you're driving, so yeah, man. If you can, I think that's the key, man. That's where you get that feeling.
Yeah, subhanallah. You know what? I think the best Fajr Salah I've prayed is in Muntada Masjid. It's top, man. Always busy.
I don't think I've done it there.
You've never done it there? Top, man. It's top.
Perhaps when I was there over Ramadan.
Yeah. When you're there in Ramadan, try and squeeze one in, man. It's really nice.
You know, one of my favourite reciters is Muhammad Jibril, yeah?
Yeah.
And I remember that in Ramadan last year, we were doing a show overnight in the Iman channel, and I stepped out to jump on a phone call. And for those people who don't know, one of the Iman channel studios is in the same building that the Muntada Masjid is at. And I step out for a second and I could hear the Taraweeh, and the reciter, like the recitation is just piercing my heart, like so beautifully, bro. Like the recitation is hitting my heart, bro. Like my heart is feeling happy hearing it. And it was in the background while I was on a phone call quickly in a break. And I remember putting the phone call down and just listening, and I'm like, who is that? Just, it's amazing. I've never heard recitation like this, like live. I just wanted to go join the Salah. And I remember coming back and I found out later that it was Muhammad Jibril, and he had come down for one day from I don't know which country he's from. But yeah, because I had listened to his recitations a few times before, like in my car and stuff, and so I really liked his recitation, man.
SubhanAllah, Allah, man. It's crazy. But you know, like Tarawih, like you said, there's no other feeling as well. Like when you're actually engaged in Tarawih and you leave it, you feel so content.
Amazing, man. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I was actually speaking to someone yesterday, and I was saying that
content, was that the right word? Contempt.
You feel content.
Content, yeah.
Yeah, not contempt.
What's contempt?
Contempt. I actually can't remember. I don't know. Contempt of who? I'm not
Anyways.
Sure. So I was speaking to someone yesterday, and I was saying that it's weird how you can be as we know, within life, we are tested with all sorts. We're going to be tested with poverty, and then like wealth and sickness and health and young age and old age. And I said that it's crazy how you can go through what feels to you like poverty, like, you know, everyone goes through, perhaps not everyone, but you know, a lot of people are blessed enough to go through periods of time where they're really struggling financially. And I say blessed because you find something, you find your true character in situations like that. And inshallah, a lot of people are also blessed enough to be in situations where they're quite comfortable financially at times in their life, right? And I remember saying to this person yesterday that it's interesting how you truly, there's times where when you're broke, you're actually happier than times when you have money, and you realize that the money actually had nothing to do with it the whole time. It's actually the closeness you have to Allah, and the more ibadah you do. So I'm not saying that you do more ibadah when you're broke, because you could do, but my point is that happiness truly only comes from Iman.
Yeah, 100%.
Not for money, bro.
Do you know about the 3 wells in Medina?
No.
So basically, this is like relative to that, So basically, I'll cut it short, There was a Sahabi, he gave his plot of land. He was one of the richest in the area at the time of the Prophet ﷺ in Medina, and he gave his land to the Prophet ﷺ, and the 3 wells that were inside that garden, are still inside the Prophet's masjid, So this man, he gave all his garden and his wealth, for the sake of Allah to the Prophet ﷺ, and as he was leaving, I remember the Shaykh was telling me that his son was eating one of the dates of the garden, and he took the date out of the baby's mouth and he threw it back into the garden and said, "This is no longer mine." And that woman he married actually didn't even. He said, "Oh, what do you want? Like, I'll marry you. What do you want?" And she said, "I don't even want your. I don't want anything," because he was the richest man at the time of Prophet in that area in Medina. And she said, "I want that. I want your iman," because he wasn't a Muslim then. I want your iman rather than I don't want. I'm paraphrasing here if I'm wrong. But this just shows, like, at the time of the Prophet they didn't care about.
Subhanallah, they didn't care.
They didn't care about these things. They didn't care about these things. And you know what? Like personally, myself living in London now, comparing it to Doncaster, the flats there, you're paying £400, £500 a month. In London, you're paying £1,100 for a studio flat. For a studio flat.
Yeah, if you're lucky, man.
Like, if you're lucky, do you know what I'm trying to say? And we moan about that kind of stuff. Yeah, and that's like the worst thing I think that we can experience in terms of financially what we're paying the most out of our pockets a month is rent. Yeah. And we tend to moan about that kind of stuff. But if you've got a roof over your head, you've got a house, you're living with your wife, and you're comfortable, as you say up north, kushti, yeah. Kushti, yeah. I don't know if you say. Do you say that?
Yeah, kushti, yeah, of course, man.
Kushti, yeah. You're fine. You're at least you're in a stable position to say, you know what, I can move on from here, etc. But at the time of Prophet, they didn't care about these things. You know what I mean? Maybe not so. Obviously, I don't know about rent, and that, but you know, this is the thing with the Muslims. Like, our iman is way more important. Like you said,
you know what the other thing is, bro, is if you actually give something up for Allah's sake, Allah will provide. Allah will provide anyway. You just got to make that first step. I know of a brother, and he had to do something for his father. He had to like. His father asked him to like to like purchase something under his name or something like that. So anyway, the agreement was made basically that the son would buy this thing for his father, but the father would actually pay the money, right? So the father would transfer the money every month to his son's account, and but it had to be from his son's bank account, for example, for some reason. I can't remember what it was. But the son basically, so they made that agreement, and then the son basically reflected on it, and then he was like, this doesn't feel right to take money from my dad, and I'm not extremely comfortable with being able to pay this amount of money, but for the sake of Allah, I'll do it, because I just don't feel comfortable taking the money from my dad, because he's my dad, look how much he's done for me, etc. And so he made the intention, for the sake of Allah, to pay this and not actually let his dad give him any money for it. And the minute he made that intention, Allah just made it so easy for him and increased his path to be able to purchase, to pay for that. But he made that intention not knowing how he's going to do it, but just knowing that he just, for the sake of Allah, he's going to say to his dad, don't worry about it. You can that's going to benefit you. Like, you need that kind of thing, whatever. Consider it done.
That's the beauty about Islam. You know, you do these things. Yeah, even like, you know, I was going back to the wells. Yeah, subhanallah, he gave that for the sake of Allah, and it's still there now, benefiting from it. So it's actually in Medina. You lift up the carpet, you can see 3 circles like this. Yeah, 3 sort of normal circles, and that's to this day, and he's still benefiting from it. Like, that's the thing with Islam. We can give in sadaqah, or we can say something nice to someone. We can do these things, but we don't know in the long run, in this world, what's going to happen to it until it comes to the grave or Yawm al-Qiyamah. We're going to see the fruits of it, and that's why we should instinctively do things for the sake of Allah, and not think about what's going to happen after it, because
and not seeking
so many things.
Not seeking like the other person to give you something back.
Exactly.
And also just having the trust in Allah that, look, because I'm doing this purely for His sake, He's got, like, Allah has got me covered. Do you know what I mean? Because Allah hasn't let you down yet.
Exactly.
And also, it's just about taking that first step, because you need to show Allah that that you really trust Him with pure faith. Like, you're not thinking like, if Allah like just gives me a little sign, then I'll do it. Like, you just say, you know what, for say Allah, I'll do it, because I know that Allah will make it happen for me. And then you'll see, because you've done that for Him, you'll see that he the whole time He was going to cover you anyway. And He never let you down, etc.
You know what the problem is as well? Like, we tend to kind of hold on to what we've done good as well. I'll explain what I mean. Like, say we've done something good, and then after that a calamity happens, something happens, you're like, why? We kind of think bad of Allah, and we think, you know, Allah, why I just gave this so much money and this has just happened to me. But you know what, I spoke to Sheikh Wasim about this, and he was saying to me that Allah only tests the people that He loves. Allah only tests the people that He loves. These people, there's so many people in this world that have got everything, but Allah they don't get tested. They don't get tested. Allah, I think our brother was talking to me about how, like, it's so easy for Allah to replace so many people with people that are going to be tested, and revert back to Him and say, you know what, I thank you, Allah, for all these things that You've tested me with. But all these people, they tend to forget about Allah and to not benefit from it.
You're right, man. We need to be grateful for our tests.
Exactly. Like, we need to. It's so easy for us to do something good, and then we get a calamity and we think bad of Allah. And really, we should think, you know what, this is a test from Allah, and this is something even greater, maybe.
And it only benefits you anyway. Like people, even if you were to think about your perception in front of the people, people would just see you as a character like, wow, Tim, I've never seen, no matter what he's gone through, I've never seen him. He always is like says how grateful he is to Allah for it. Like he always takes it back to Allah, and eventually that makes you think, wow, that's true, because everything that happens, he always quotes thanks Allah for it, no matter whether it's good or bad, and that leaves a very lasting impression on people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true.
SubhanAllah. So let's switch the conversation over slightly.
That was really good. I like that. It was nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
Nice, yeah.
Alhamdulillah. But I want to talk about the topic that everyone's always most intrigued about with our guests, and
why
that
am I
is the
white
topic.
and wearing a kameez? Is that what you're going to ask me?
Not why are you white and wearing a kameez? Although, is that kameez? No, that's a thobe proper.
Kameez,
kameez.
same thing.
Yeah, but because I'm Pakistani, we think of kameez. We think of kameez as like a top thing, like this t-shirt.
Yeah. That's what I wore.
Very nice kameez though, bro. Allahumma barik. You look like you've ironed it with the starch. Yeah, man.
I got a cheap iron, man. I got a cheap iron.
Yeah, I know the tricks, bro. Allahumma barik.
May Allah bless you, bro.
I mean, so anyway, let's talk about marriage.
Okay.
Inshallah.
Okay. The hot topic.
Guys, I'm just going to take a quick break into this episode to let you guys know about our sponsors at Wahid. Wahid have been amazing. They've been sponsoring our last few episodes, and I want to tell you guys about them. You no longer have to put your savings into a savings account and have it accumulate interest. You can put your savings into your Wahid account by going to freshlygrounded.com/Wahid. You upload your money from as little as £100, and your money can make money, inshallah, by it without interest. How they do it is they invest your money into halal companies and into commodities. You can find out kind of more information about that by checking out their FAQs at freshlygrounded.com/Wahid. You can sign up instantly, get your account approved straight away, and invest just as little as £100. Wahid have helped Wahid have helped people all over the States put their money into halal portfolios, and now they've come to the UK. Check them out at freshlygrounded.com/Wahid. And without any further ado, guys, let's get back into the episode with Tim. Anyways,
What were we talking about?
marriage. So alhamdulillah, you got married this year?
Last year, April. So 9 months ago. From what day is it?
April.
It was that long ago.
Wow. I remember you being like, oh yeah, just got married, man. That was April.
But I didn't really know you when I got married, did I?
Yeah, but I must have said
I would have invited you because Musa and Ali came, and who else came? That was it.
Yeah, we don't know each other. We didn't know each
I think it
other.
was Ramadan I first met you.
Yeah, we met in Ramadan, and you must have just got married.
Yeah,
because we met in Ramadan.
I was
and
fresh. Fresh married,
yeah,
man.
that's why. That's the thing. That's why you're talking about it. When you first get married, like, I'm married. I'm married.
Did you not married?
Yeah. When I first got married, I was like that to everyone. Alhamdulillah. So how did that go about? Did you have any? Did you find any trouble like getting married because of you being a revert or anything like that? Or?
You know what? There's so many different ways of looking at it. Yeah. There's a way of looking at it from my side, my family side, and their family side. Yeah. Because my family I've married into is an Asian family. Yeah. Instinctively, like you'd think that maybe they wouldn't be too not happy, but they wouldn't, because of cultural reasons or maybe because they just prefer it. They wouldn't they wouldn't go for me, but they were happy with it. And their parents were very open and very similar. Their parents is why I love their parents. My wife's parents, is like they're very similar to my parents. They're very open-minded. They're very caring and loving, and that was a very big turning point for me accepting my choice into getting married to my wife.
Oh, that was a big factor, was it?
One massive factor.
Alhamdulillah.
Because normally when you see that in the parents, it reflects onto the children, and that's one of the main, like, seeing that in them was amazing for me, and that was a really big turning point for me.
So how did you guys meet?
We met. You know what's fun? Like, it's a mad story. It's not like a mad like, oh, I saw her, that was it, khalas. It was a bit of a strange one because I was in university in Greenwich, and I was involved in the ISOC throughout my uni. I was involved in ISOC, and there was all the way throughout it. Like my wife, she was involved in it in her last year. She enjoyed the ISOC. She thought, in my last year I'm just gonna help out as much as I can, etc. And in that last year, like, not so much I saw her around, but she knew who I was because I was the media. I was doing all the posters, filming, all that stuff. So I was. And
you were the 6'5" white guy in there.
Yeah, didn't want to say that, but that was when she saw me and she knew who I was. Yeah, I didn't so much knew who she was. I didn't really delve too much into the sister side, but it came to annual dinner, yeah, the final one, yeah. No, my second to last one, her final one, and I'm telling everyone my story, but I'll tell it anyways. Maybe it'll benefit. And that was the point where she, because I was on stage, baited me out. It was an ELM. There was a board across. You couldn't see any of the brothers, but I for some reason got chosen to go on stage. And I think what point was it? I was helping someone, like I was setting something up on the stage, yeah, and her brother was there. He came to Greenwich as well ages ago, yeah, but she brought him along to the event. So he saw me, and he thought, you know what, mashallah, like he looks like a good brother. I didn't even speak. I didn't even see him. Like when I came down from stage, I don't think he spoke to me. But then I got like a message, and the brother spoke to me, and etc. etc. And then from there, it was like a really long process. It was not long as in bad, but long as in like we wanted to get married, but then because I wanted to finish my studies, I kind of left it until I finished university. And then so there was a long process. Like it gave me time to kind of understand who she is and her family. And it was really nice, like going through that process from that angle rather than me jumping straight into a nikah and then going to walima. It kind of allowed me to understand her a lot more before we got married. So yeah, that's the story, man. It was one of them ones where I met the brother quite a lot, and I really developed a relationship with the brother before I kind of met her. Like I spoke to him, chatted to him, and etc. He told me who she was and all these kind of things. So I didn't really see her straight away. It wasn't one of the things. What does he call it? Rushda or something? Rushda.
Oh, a rishta.
Rishta.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of the ones where I went and saw her straight away. I actually saw the brother quite a bit before I went and met her. And then I went and met her, and then we kind of spoke, questions, etc. And then it's normal.
Yeah, well, getting to know the family is really cool, man. And like the brother, it shows you kind of, it's definitely a reflection on what the sister will be like if you get to understand the family and the parents and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So that's one of the things I think if brothers and sisters are maybe looking to get married, when you're going to meet the sister or brother, and you're meeting the parents there as well, take a look at, not deep and start questioning their mum and stuff, but look at how they are with the children, or how they are with you, and these kind of things, because it does add up. It does add up. And also make them happy from day one. Even if you don't know if you're going to get married to their parents, you should always be nice anyways. But the first time I went to meet her, I gave her mum some chocolates. I think it was chocolates or something. No, I asked my friend who's Gujarati, yeah. I said, listen, what do Gujaratis like? Yeah. So I bought
Is Gujarati from
halwa.
India?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gujarati is from India.
Can you be Gujarati from, I don't want to say it because people are going to say that I'm
God,
can you be Gujarati from anywhere else?
I don't think so, bro.
If you're Gujarati, you're Indian.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna get a lot of hate comments for that because I'm Asian.
But you can obviously, I think you can be Gujarati, and like there's some Muslims there, and there's some obviously different kind of religions there. But
Sure,
yeah, so I
okay.
asked what did they like? So I bought some halwa, yeah.
Okay.
Pakistanis like halwa as well.
Yeah. What kind of halwa did you
You're
get?
Pakistani, is it?
I'm Pakistani, of course, yeah.
So I bought, I think it's gajar halwa.
Carrot.
Carrot. I bought it. It was so nice, yeah. And I brought it to them, and I gave it to their mum, and I kind of gave it to them, and kind of, just kind of showing that I want to learn about them as well. You know what I'm trying to say? I've got to see the dad quite a bit, but I want to give it to her mum as well. And that was a big factor. Massive factor.
But I completely agree, man. Even when I was getting married, I think I would meet the dad a lot. What had happened is, at the time we were in a different office, and that office was next to a masjid, which the dad would visit a lot as well. And so I ended up into the dad after Salah. I would see him and stuff, and we would just after Salah we would speak for like 15, 20, 30 minutes.
It's crazy. Like it was in Ramadan, yeah. And I was at my Quran teacher's masjid, yeah. And I was there, and I was just chilling out, and I was like, I messaged him. I was like, are we gonna have, because I haven't met him for like a month or two, the brother, yeah. I was like, should we meet and like chat and whatever and catch up, yeah? And then he came in all the way to Victoria, because that's where I was in Victoria, all the way there, and we sat down in Ramadan, after iftar, and we just sat there for ages chatting. And then my teacher was there, so the dad went and spoke to my teacher and got a reference and stuff.
Good, yeah. So
it's really important, like to make sure, to ensure that they get a different point of view from you, not just you going there and saying khalas. Allow them to understand the different parts of you, because then when it comes to the marriage, they'll know these things already, and they won't be shocked by it, or they'll like it even more because they're seeing that you're acting upon it rather than just someone saying it. You know what I'm trying to say? Because that's one of the problems, I think, is that maybe sometimes people get carried away with references, and they say things that maybe they aren't like. And then when it comes to the marriage, then they're not like that.
I
There's an
agree.
honest reference is really important.
I was about to say that. The referencing thing is really cool because, well, if you have a good teacher and someone who is, and I'm not saying anything about anyone else, but the thing that's important to understand about the referencing procedure is that you have to be honest.
Yeah, of course.
Someone is trusting you and for an opinion on a man for his daughter.
Yeah.
And so you have to be honest no matter what. And if that is genuinely your student, you might love that your student, but there might be sides of the student that you picked up on that you have to mention. And you got to also bear in mind that the dad is putting a lot of trust on that reference.
100%.
So you have to be true to yourself, and you have to bear in mind that Allah is the witness.
Oh, exactly. That's the problem. Like, may Allah forbid, like, I'm not saying this happens, but maybe sometimes people go over the top and may even lie about the person.
Can't do that, man.
We might think, we're lying in a good way, but we're lying.
No,
at the end
it's
of the
very
day.
important to be honest.
Because you're jeopardizing their marriage. Like, imagine they go into the marriage now, and she expects him to be like this, but then it changes completely, and then she sees a completely different man, and this is not someone she wanted to get married to. And it's a sad thing, in a way, but it's like you said, it's a test from Allah, and it's the beauty.
100%.
This is the beauty of Islam, and there's so many things that we can learn from it and take from it.
No,
but it's so important, man. Like having that reference that's going to be honest and is going to be true to who you are. True to who you are.
Yeah, and it's more so about not lying, I guess. I know once or twice someone has asked me about someone, not for a reference, I'm definitely not on that level, but in the sense of like, I know that you know of this person, so just wondering what you think of this person. And I've always made an effort to say, this is what I know, but with regards to, for example, this aspect, from what let's say, for example, it was about the salah, I'll say, look, from what I know, the person is on time with their salah, but you got also bear in mind that I haven't stayed with the person because I have not seen.
Exactly, yeah.
And I make that clear to people because I don't want someone to, like, what I mean. From what I know, the person prays salah, for example. The thing that you mentioned about the brother, you getting to know the brother and stuff, I think is really important because some people often ask me, not that I'm a marriage guru at all, but I saw it recently in my Instagram Q&A that I did, is that how would you recommend for people to get married, basically? And I gave this advice, and I've given it so many times on here and other places, that the best way, I think, of getting married is to make really good friends. And as a prequel to that, in order to make really good friends, you have to be a really good person. So if you want to marry someone great, the first step is for you to be the type of person that you want to marry. So if I want to marry a sister who prays 5 times a day, is doing like waking up for Fajr, etc., I need to be that person, because then if I'm that person, I'm going to naturally make friends that are like that, right?
Exactly.
So I'm going to make friends with you now, Tim, because we might meet in a masjid for Fajr. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So now me and you become really good friends, right? And then
look,
the reason I say to make good friends is because the beautiful thing about Islam is, just like what happened to you, is that if you're a good person, I'm going to say, wow, Tim is such a nice person, I would love for him to be a part of my family, or I'd love to I feel like I could trust him with marrying my sister. Whereas when you're not practicing or you're not Muslim, you're not gonna, if someone's like, if you're my boy, I'm never gonna be like, oh bro, like, why don't you go out with my sister? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just not gonna
no, it's so true. That's a really good way to look at it, because you have to be realistic with yourself and understand that, you know what stage am I at? Like, am I the kind of person that is praying 5 times, not praying 5 times a day, but I want someone who is praying 5 times a day. And sometimes we get it mixed up, like, or
listen to music.
But there is the element of, marrying someone that's going to benefit you. That's another way that people will come back to you and say, you know what, but what if I want someone who is going to benefit me, and I truly have that intention?
But if you have that intention, then you don't require. You don't require another person to make you close to Allah, because, I mean, obviously Allah knows best in it. But my point is this: is that perhaps if you're not married yet and you're thinking to yourself, why am I not married yet? Perhaps it's worth thinking that Allah may be giving you more time and opportunity to get closer to Him, so that you're prepared for marriage.
Yes,
that's worth thinking about.
Yeah.
And then maybe what you'll notice is, as soon as you're starting to pray on time, or as soon as you're starting to do that thing that in your head you know about that you shouldn't be doing, perhaps as soon as you do that, out of nowhere, the marriage thing will come.
I think you'll grow in confidence as well. You know, the moment you actually believe that you're going to try and get married, and you want to marry someone that prays 5 times a day, and you try that, make that effort as well to pray 5 times a day, you'll grow in confidence because you'll say to yourself, you know what, I pray 5 times a day now. And I can say to myself, you know, if I'm going to get married, that, you know, alhamdulillah, I pray 5 times a day. Then you won't kind of lower yourself down, and you won't want to try and hide it if you're not praying 5 times a day.
And you can be more stern with the things that you want, because
Exactly.
you know,
Yes.
if you're not praying 5
Yes,
times
yes,
a day,
yes, yes.
you can't really be like, look, let's say for example you struggle with Fajr, and like, you know, a lot of us do, bro.
Yeah.
And we all go for times where we really struggle, and we all go for times where we find it really easy.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started practicing, subhanallah, Allah like humbled me, because people used to, like, a conversation used to come up where like people would say, oh, I really struggle with the Fajr Salah, and I almost arrogantly used to say, bro, Fajr is my easiest Salah, because you know, back then, bro, when you first start practicing, your iman is sky high, and you love waking up. But then I got humbled, bro, because then I went through a phase where I was struggling, bro, and perhaps it was because I had to learn that, like, do you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to go humbled.
But when it gets to like Ramadan times, bruv, if you're on 18 degrees, you're finished.
So my point was that let's say for example you it's important to you that you have someone who, like, you know, wakes up on time, Fajr early, etc., which should be important to everyone, but you're not doing it yourself, then you can't ask for it that stern. Like, when you're speaking to the parents, you can't be like, if they say what you're looking for, you can't be like, I need a sister who wakes up for Fajr on time and like wakes me up, etc. Because then if they say to you, are you doing that? Then you're going to be like, oh, I try. But if you know you're like on it with that, then you can say it with stern. You say, this is important to me because I do it, and I don't want to assist anyone to, like, I don't affect my salah. And I know we're saying, we're saying, oh, I want a sister like this, etc. This is in no way we're not being derogatory towards the sisters. But I suppose we're speaking from a brother's perspective, because we are brothers ourselves.
Because brothers expect too much.
Brothers do expect a lot. And so likewise, if things are important to a sister, a sister should never feel like, oh, I can't mention this. A sister should mention it. Like, it's very important to me that the brother, like, it's very important to me that the husband puts Allah first. And
because like we tend to hide stuff that we're ashamed of, and sisters, if they hit the nail on the head, then, you know, this will really be a good in the long term, really good. SubhanAllah. Yeah,
it's tough. I think sisters have a lot of pressure to. I think there is, unfortunately, a lot of pressure for sisters to, like, accept. Like, if, for example, like you said, a rishta comes through, it might be a bit more. There might be a bit more, like, pressure on the sister to accept that, like, oh, he's good enough, like, accept him. For example, his salah might not be amazing, but people learn. And if the sister is really strong about that, unfortunately, perhaps there's a lot of pressure on the sister to be like, okay, fine, because there's a lot of pressure for her to accept it. But she should be able to confidently say, do you know what, I don't want to marry that guy, because he's going to be far from my children, inshallah. Like, and if my children are not seeing their father go to the masjid, there's a problem.
Any second thoughts, we should really, like, even for men, like, it's really important that you don't let the kind of doubts get over you. You know what I'm trying to say? Because you're not going to find the perfect man or woman at the end of the day all the time. Yeah, you're always going to find something that might get to you a little bit, but it's the bigger picture that you need to look at. If it's really, like you said, like, if it's going into children, or it's going to treating people correctly and these kind of things, that's what we should maybe be looking at, not the little things.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think like us growing up, like, maybe because we're young, it's really hard to kind of see it, because as we're growing up and we're changing, you know, it's a bit more difficult because of the Western culture as well. There's a lot that comes into it, and that's why I think people are finding a lot more challenging. But in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, marriage was just like, khalas. You know, now it's how much mahar are you going to give? Where are we going to have the venue? How much money are you earning? What job do you have? And these kind of things get to people's heads, and they let it get in front of half of your deen. SubhanAllah, they let it get in front of your how do you say, the importance of getting married. It gets in front of it. And me personally, I experienced it myself. Like, when I first started thinking about it, because I've spoke to my wife before, is that there was a time where, when I first became Muslim, I really wanted to get married, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to get married. Yeah, and I really wanted to, and I was zealous about it. And things happened, and I got let down, and I wasn't. And then it really put me down about getting married. And then for so long, for the rest of my time as a Muslim, I didn't want to get married. I just thought, you know what, I don't care about these things, and I just want to get on with my life. But, you know, the moment it came to realization, you know what, I should get married, it really not only humbles you, but it starts to mold you as a person when you know that you're going to get married, and it starts to form you and mature you as well. That's the beautiful thing about marriage is that although we're young,
Yeah.
and because we're ready for marriage, it molds you and sculpts it. How do you say sculptures you?
Yeah, sculpture. Yeah.
Sculptures you in, it sculptures you into the person that you should be, because you're becoming more mature, and it gives you that responsibility.
Bro,
and even if you're young,
100%.
it changes you so much.
I was saying to my wife yesterday that nothing matures you as quick as marriage.
Trust me.
I got married. I got
Wow.
married, and then I was like, oh, I need to step up.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro, and I think that the people who perhaps have followed me on YouTube and stuff since when I started, because when I first made a YouTube video, it was just before my nikah. So the people who, if they like watch my character grow over the last 3 years now, if you look at my first YouTube video and watch the timeline, I think that inshallah you would see that inshallah there may have been a more mature person blossom, because bro, your marriage will mature you up
so
real
much,
quick.
much. We think that, oh no, I'm going to get married, no, boyfriend, girlfriend. It's nothing like that.
No.
Marriage is complete, like, not in a scary way, but in a beautiful way.
In a beautiful way.
Me personally, before I became Muslim, I was so like straight, hardcore, bam. If it's not like that, it's like this, yeah. But when you get married, yeah, you kind of start looking things a lot differently,
man.
and you know, you cherish women more than you should. Like before I got married, stuff or a lie, yeah, we don't think about sisters when we should, and it shouldn't be like that. We tend to neglect sisters, at all I don't agree with it. Yeah, and sometimes we get a bit too extreme about it, and you know, understanding women, how beautiful they are in Islam, it's amazing. Yeah, and getting married, honestly, it humbles you, and you look at sisters the way they should be looked at.
And you can see stuff from a sister's perspective more, because you're close to someone who, when you're married, their happiness is your happiness, and the other way around as well. You are in a relationship with someone who, no matter, like you want best for them, even if it doesn't affect you, but you want best for them, because when they're happy, that makes you happy, and you'll realize that they want the same for you. So they just want to support you in the thing that makes you happy, because you being happy makes them happy. And with two people who are in a marriage who are happy, that makes for a happy marriage. So, but rarely are you in a relationship like that. Even when you're with friends, that has a limit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna now sacrifice like X, Y, and Z just for your happiness, because it doesn't affect me as much, right? Whereas if we're a marriage, it's different.
It's so true. Like, it's like understanding women. Yeah, is they love it so much. If you understand them and you know like how things should be done, they'll enjoy it so much. But if you tend to neglect what they enjoy and go for your desires, that shows the immaturity, and that we should be people who need to change and adapt to how sisters want things sometimes. Because the reason why I quoted the hadith was because nowadays, like, I'm changing the subject a tiny bit, yeah, is that when I was involved in ISOC, I experienced a lot of negligence.
Not negligence, because negligence is like when you have some kind of malpractice, or you like omit to do something, I guess. So neglectfulness, neglect, I think
is that happened to sisters a lot.
A lot of neglect.
It's like, it happened a lot. I'm not going to go into details, I'm not going to name anyone or any of that stuff, yeah, but I've seen it, and I've seen it happen, yeah. And the reason why I quoted that is because before that, I had that mentality, and I shouldn't have had it, yeah. But when I got married, it really, really humbled me, and made me understand that this is how women should be treated in Islam, yeah. Because before I was Muslim, you know, the way I'm not going to say, and I'm not going into it, but my mentality before I was Muslim was not right in how women should be thought about, yeah, and it was more of a non-pleasing way, yeah. And now when I became Muslim, there was the maturity level of understanding that women are not like that. It's like this. So I got a bit extreme with that, and it got a bit to the side, and then we pushed it to the side, and then when I got to ISOC, it became more like that, and it really kind of sculptured the wrong way. But the moment, the maturity, like I was talking about, is when you get to that stage of you realizing that you're getting married to a woman, and that women have so much haya in Islam. And when I got married, it completely changed my mentality. And understanding, like I said, stressing it again, the importance of understanding women is so good.
It's very important.
Very important, sorry, yeah, very important. Very important.
Bro, another thing that reminded me of is this sister. She wrote an article on our Freshly Grounded blog, right? And it opened my eyes up so much. And the article was about postpartum depression. So depression that you get, sisters can get after they give birth, bro. And it was so powerful, that article, and it deserves thousands of views, like and shared.
What is it?
Shared,
What is
and,
it?
but basically, she just she wrote it so beautifully, and I think she herself perhaps is a mother, and so she's experienced this. But basically, the way she explains it, it really makes it understandable. And she basically says that there are some really good examples that she gave. Like, for example, you know, when a woman gives birth, there's some women go through depression after, right? And it's hard to explain, but basically hormones are all over the place, and you can't really put a finger on why they go through it. But sometimes it can happen straight after giving birth. Sometimes it can happen like a year later, or sometimes it can happen straight after, but it can last a year or even longer or shorter. It's not. There's no right. And she was basically saying that the sad thing is that there's a lot of neglect on the sisters on that part, because family members and friends assume like
that they're all happy.
Well, of course, you just had a baby. Like, this is the best thing that could have ever happened to you. You must be over the moon. And they give all of the attention to the baby. But no, everyone forgets to give attention to the mother. But the mother has just gone through 9 months of like not understanding what's happening, and then it's all just abruptly come to an end. And the last 24 hours have been so traumatic, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, congratulations, and all the focus is on the baby. No one asks about the mother.
How is she?
And how is she? And so I was like, when I was reading the article, bro, I was getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Like, wow, that is so true. Like, no one does give attention to the mother. And also, no one considers the fact that she could have been, no one considers the fact that she might be going through depression, postpartum depression, and how important this is.
Bismillah.
Okay, back from a short break. So, bro, just before we round out the podcast and the episode, I wanted to discuss Umrah, because you just came back from your first ever Umrah trip.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was amazing. I think you know what, people will say they love when they go, they love Medina so much, and sometimes more than Mecca. Yeah, but I loved Mecca, man.
Really?
There was something about it that, you know, you've spent all your life, well, me not so much, but I've spent my time being a Muslim, seeing pictures of it, seeing all the people around it walking, doing tawaf and stuff. But it's only when you get there and you see the Kaaba and you see people walking around it when you really can soak it in and understand that this is the house of Allah, the direction that we pray to every day. And when you're in your salah and you can see the Kaaba, no pictures anymore. It's not pictures anymore. It's the physical form that you can see it in, that you've seen already. And you know, it's amazing. And when I was in Mecca, I think my favorite salah and the time that I had there was in the salah of, I think it was Maghrib, the second day we were there. Yeah, and this was Sheikh Balila was reciting. Yeah, and as he was reciting, you can hear the birds, you can see people, you can see the sun and the pink sky, and it was amazing. It was unbelievable, and that in itself really, wallahi, it touched my heart.
What was your reaction like the first time you saw the...
Have you seen my photo? Have you seen my photo when I was there? My skinhead, I sent it to you. My bald head.
You practically have no hair now anyway.
Yeah. But it was bad.
Did I turn the camera on? Maybe I did.
That's on camera that you didn't turn the camera on. So yeah.
You practically have no hair anyway. Is it your WhatsApp picture?
No, it's not my WhatsApp.
Oh, because your WhatsApp picture.
What's my WhatsApp picture?
It's you, I think, in Saudi. With a black thumb.
No, that was Morocco. That was Morocco. You know, that mosque was Casablanca, yeah. Okay. And that mosque, yeah, is built on water.
Really?
It's in the sea. It's literally going out into the sea, and underneath it is a load of pillars holding up in the sea. It's amazing.
That's amazing.
It's honestly, the masjid is so beautiful. It's unbelievable, bro.
Wow.
It is unbelievable, and the amount of people it can hold there is unbelievable as well.
Have you travelled much with your wife yet? Because you're
I've been, yeah, I have. Alhamdulillah. I went to Morocco.
It's special, isn't it?
And yeah, it's amazing. It's good taking yourself away from where you live and going with your wife somewhere and kind of forgetting about everything and just spending that specific time. And that's why I actually got advised when I first got married to just go on holiday nearly straight away, to kind of spend that time in depth with your wife and kind of understand each other a lot more. So yeah, back to Umrah. I want to hit the nail on the head.
Go ahead, man.
Is that when you go to Mecca, yeah, and you're kind of humbling yourself, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm changing the topic quite a bit, man.
Bro, this is a podcast. What it's for, man. Don't apologize.
When I was in the bus, yeah, it kind of didn't hit my heart that I'm doing Umrah until I got to in the region of Mecca, yeah. And we were driving in the bus, and I saw the minarets of Mecca, yeah, and I was like, oh my days, I'm here, bruv. Oh my days. And when I looked at it, my heart kind of, when you get that extra beat, you know, when your heart skips a beat, like, I don't know if that's real or not, yeah, but it felt so weird when I saw it. I was like, oh my days. Like, this is literally the moment that I need to cherish. Every single moment that I need to get when I'm here, I need to cherish. And when you're walking up to the Kaaba and you're humbling yourself, you're not looking at it straight away, and you go to it and you look up and you see it. That moment is one of the best moments. You can't even explain it to people. People are like, what's it like when you see the Kaaba? You're like, I don't even know how to explain it to you, but you just see it, and you kind of relate to it, and you say, you know what, Ya Allah, accept my Umrah that I'm about to do, and make all the du'as, and it is unbelievable. People don't cherish it as much as they should. People don't cherish it. Like me personally, I didn't. Before I went on Umrah, I was like, yeah, Umrah, I can't, because I think it's because I thought I couldn't afford it. Yeah, I thought I couldn't afford it, but the moment you kind of take a little bit of money out of your pocket and you just do it for the sake of Allah, everything becomes easy when you go.
Realise how much it's worth, innit?
Yeah.
Like,
it's priceless, man.
Yeah, priceless.
Hajj is probably, it's a bit of a burn in the pocket. I can't afford that right now. Yeah, but...
Well, bro...
What's that?
There's a Hajj tour called Qibla Tours who I'm supporting right now.
Yeah.
This sounds like such an ad, but it's not. I would talk to you about this even if you weren't my job.
Yeah.
But they're the cheapest Hajj package I found. £4,600, just under 4,600, and you get 5-star hotel in Medina, and you get like walking distance in Makkah, and you know Badr.
Yeah.
Ustad Yahya.
Yeah.
Where he teaches, he's like his school.
Yeah.
The sheikh from that is his organisation, and he's done it for like 25 years in a row. But actually, I know that Yas was telling me actually that Yasin has a very good, obviously the
Amana told, yeah.
Yeah, they know they have a good a good Hajj company as well. So there's a few companies out there.
There's a lot, yeah. You know what, I think.
But they take installments and stuff as well.
Oh, is it?
A lot of Hajj companies. So there's ways to do it. But
There is, yeah.
I know, because I always saw Hajj as a big thing. Like, when am I ever going to be able to? You know what?
It's
when
like
£5,000.
Yeah, when I was in the bus,
your wife, it's 10 grand.
Yeah. When I was going in the bus, yeah, we were passing through Mina, and they were explaining, this is where the European people will be, and it was I was just picturing myself being there. I'll be like, bro.
Inshallah, man. May Allah allow us to go Hajj.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You never know, Akhi, man.
And you know, because I actually showed my mum it as well. I was like, Mum, one day, inshallah, I want you to come with me. Yeah. And she was like, yeah. She wants to come. You know what? It's amazing, man. Inshallah, my mum. I can go. You know what? I was with a brother, yeah. And then, mashallah, may Allah bless his brother. I'm not going to name him out, yeah. But every day when I was there with him, tawaf, bro, come, let's go do tawaf. Let's go do tawaf. And when we were there, and he was walking around, because he's a revert as well, he was talking to me, bro, imagine being here with your parents. Yeah, because we as non-Muslims, having non-Muslim parents, yeah, it's hard to imagine these kind of things. But when you do and you kind of think about it, wallahi, it makes you want to help your parents as much as you can to become Muslim. Because I know my mom's probably going to watch this, yeah. But that is what I want in my life. That is my main goal in my life, is for my parents to be Muslim, so I can spend time with them and for them to understand their religion and to do these things with them. And I think that's my biggest goal.
You know what, bro? That's such a beautiful goal. And what I would say to that is, alhamdulillah, bro, your parents are still alive.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is a big blessing from Allah, because you know, there's brothers who I know who their parents passed away and they didn't pass away Muslim, and these brothers are to this day so upset because
may Allah protect
they had the chance. You know what I mean? So akhi, man, may Allah guide your parents. And like I said, bro, when we spoke to your mum for briefly on that show, akhi, like, such a beautiful soul, akhi, man. And I wanted to speak to you straight away after. Yeah. I think I did. I want to be that team, bro. Like, mashallah, like, alhamdulillah, akhi,
what
man.
was that? That was me doing. I was the interracial marriage thing, isn't it? Yeah, it was
interracial marriage. No, I think it was about. It's something about reverts, but I can't. It's something about reverts. About,
talk to me. Was I calling in? Oh,
you weren't calling in.
No, it was my mum.
Your mum called in.
Yeah.
I think you arranged it, obviously.
Yeah.
She didn't call in randomly.
No, yeah. I told her to call in. Yeah. That's what I mean. She's so open.
So you're saying she would watch this? Like, does she watch all your stuff?
Everything.
Really?
Yeah, everything. She loves Iman channel, man. She loves Iman channel. She loves what we do. You know, I sincerely love my mum so much. Yeah, but it's one of the things where we got to get on with life, and we do our best as Muslims. Because at the end of the day, you know what? One of the brothers yesterday at work, he gave a reminder, and he was talking about on Yawm al-Qiyamah how you're not going to think about anyone else but yourself, and that everything you've done in this world is going to be what you've been done. What you're going to be rewarded for everything that you've done. Yeah, and that's the main key, is that we make sure that we try our best with people and our family and our friends, but we also have to remember ourselves that when it comes to Yawm al-Qiyamah, it's going to be you, and not even one hasanah you're going to get from someone else. Not even one. SubhanAllah, and that's what we have to think about.
No.
Is that when SubhanAllah, it's scary, man. It's scary. May Allah protect us, man, and give us the best.
I mean, akhi, may Allah protect us, akhi. You know, I want to say massive jazakallah khair, akhi, for coming to the podcast. I've been wanting to have you on for a while, and
I imagine I literally couldn't even think when I'm gonna be able to do it.
Yeah,
Allah facilitated
that. Yeah, Allah facilitated that, because we've been trying to get this since before you went to Umrah.
Yeah.
And like, you know what, bro? The people I love doing episodes of Freshly Grounded, we've got people who I genuinely love talking to outside of Freshly Grounded. Do you know what I mean? And I think we spoke briefly a few times over the past year.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, Tim, it'd be lovely to have you on and have a really deep chat with you. Airplane mode, like, no one's bugging us. Just have a nice chat. Learn about you, learn about your family and kind of your goals and stuff. And
can I mention one last thing?
Bro, you can mention whatever you want to mention.
One last thing.
Man.
You know what? I've hardly known you for so long. Yeah. Honestly, bro, I've loved it so much every time I met you. Yeah. Allah bless you. Yeah. And one of the main things that I took from our this is the only thing. Remember, I said to you, should I prepare anything for this? He was like, nah, you don't really need to.
Me? And I said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I asked you, he was like, let's just talk. Yeah. And I was thinking, there was one thing I want to talk about is companionship.
Okay.
And if anyone's took anything from this, I didn't come on here to make my life look like I've done a lot or any of these kind of things. But the only thing that I want people to, or one of the things I want them to take away from this is companionship. Yeah. And how important it is in Islam. And we have to look at all the way throughout Islam the importance of companionship. When you go and travel, when you're with three or more people, how shaitan, etc. It's when you're married, it completes half your deen. When you pray in Jama'ah, you get more reward. Everything in Islam, it involves around companionship. Yeah. And the main reason I became Muslim was because I had the right friends, the companionship, and the ability to understand them and take things from them. I didn't neglect anything they were saying. Is that the right word? Neglect, yeah. And that is the real true thing that I want people to take away from this, is that wherever you are in this world, wherever you are in the UK, London, Birmingham, if that's what you classify as England as well, I'm joking. Argentina, anywhere. I can't even think of countries right now because I don't know why I went to Argentina, bro. America, any of these places. I don't know why I went to Argentina, bro. Yeah, but honestly, companionship is so important, and I think we as Muslims, we should try our best to involve ourselves with people who are going to benefit us and to have the right companionship around us. And I think, mashallah, you're a very good companion of mine, bro. May Allah bless you.
Likewise,
and it's been nice, you know what? And that's what I wanted to say.
Alhamdulillah, what beautiful way to end the podcast. Jazakallah khair.
Barakallah feekum.
You're always more than welcome to come back. We have an open door policy here, so please do come back, inshallah.
I'm just gonna walk in when you're next on your program.
Not that open door. It's like an open door, but with like
not that open.
There's a door stop there. Yeah. It's a bit confusing. You have to have your thumbprint. And guys, this has been episode Freshly Grounded. I have been Faisal Chowdhury. This has been Tim Randle.
Yes. D-L-E, not D-A-L.
Oh, how would I pronounce it?
R-A-N, D-L-E, so Randle.
Randle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This has been Tim Randle, not A-L. I will see you guys next week, inshallah.